So I'm at work. It's hot as a motherfucker. But it is what it is. But anyway, I was a few minutes ago talking to one of my man.
Make a U-turn.
This bitch. Fucking GPS, yeah. But anyway, I was telling one of my homies and shit how about this picture I was gonna draw, you know what I mean? And basically the picture was me basically pulling off the chains to my mind, you know what I'm saying? It's in my head the way I want it. And I drew it, but I ain't like how it came out, so I balled that shit up. But anyway, I was telling him, because he was like, you know, the drawings are a reflection. I'm like, yeah, when I draw, I usually put me as the character because it's really things I put in my head or things that are in my head that I just want to put on a medium, really for the sake of letting my thoughts out and also to leave something for my grandkids, my kids and great grandkids, just something tangible, physical they could see just what I was about, you know what I mean? But anyway, it just got me to thinking, like, you know, some people say we born into a prison, and that's not necessarily true from my observation. We born into a social construct, without a doubt. But once we born into these bodies, we are basically taught to put a lock or put our minds and our cells in the prison, you know what I'm saying? We put our true selves in the prison of the body, and the lock is the mind. And you know, it starts with parents, you know what I'm saying? And it ain't their fault, because they really teaching you from the perspective of love, you know what I'm saying? The problem is, again, it's just my opinion, I'm just rambling and shit, just thoughts. Not saying it's the truth, it's just my understanding. But is you know, they teaching the children how to live and not really teaching them how to exist. You know what I mean? They teach the kids how to love without necessarily knowing what love is. And the crazy thing is that the children shows you exactly what love is, because they born loving. They're not taught to love their mother. They just love them. They love their parents. You know what I mean? They love their friends. They love the animals. It's just who they are, because children are the closest thing to their higher selves, because they haven't been taught who they are, you know what I'm saying? And we don't remind of what they are. So eventually the teachings from parents and other stimulus from outside sources like education or school, friends, internet and all that shit, it starts to create this persona that they end up living as, which feeds the ego. So this persona and the ego are basically the correction officers and wardens of the prison of your mind. And the only way to free yourself is to understand that it's not you, your higher self, higher conscious being, or you know, whatever people title it, you know what I'm saying? But it's not you that's in prison, you know what I mean? And once you understand that it's not you, which means you're not the body or the mind, you take the keys, you get the keys and you break the lock off, and you live freely in a social construct where we must, I ain't gonna say must, but we follow these unspoken rules given to us by whoever created the system, you know what I'm saying? But as long as you continue to go about your ways thinking that you are this body and you are the mind, and all that is fed by, you know, or protected or corrected by the ego, you're going to continuously be affected by the social construct. And you'll say that that's the prison rather than looking at yourself and saying, no, this is the prison. I'm imprisoning myself. Because you eventually start to allow things in a social construct get at you in a way that's a detriment to your spirit. And that's like with the worrying, the stress, the doubt, the emotional outbursts, uncontrolled emotion, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what we've been taught. We've been taught that shit. And it's sad for real, you know what I mean? Because it's like I was saying with the parenting, you coming from a place of love in order to teach your kids how to live. But you're teaching your kids how to live based on how you was taught how to live. And it's just a generational teaching coming from a good place, but teaching you how to imprison yourself, man. Cause I was telling one of my homies, like, dog, we learn how to love first as men from our mother, you know what I mean? And so, you know, it might be an instance where your mom tell you, you know, if she don't love you a certain way, then, you know, get rid of that bitch, you know what I'm saying? Or get rid of that woman, or get rid of that girl, you know what I'm saying? But the truth of the matter is, if you love yourself unconditionally, which means you know that you ain't the body, because the body come with conditions, then you recognize unconditional love, and you recognize love when somebody's trying their best. And so if you love them unconditionally, or you love yourself unconditionally, and you recognize that they do love you, they just don't love you the way you want to be loved. But the reason you want to be loved in a way is because you learned what love was from someone, you know what I'm saying? But once you love as a child, you recognize that they love you, they're just loving you the best way they know how, you know what I'm saying? And so if you understand unconditional love, then you just love them, you know what I mean? Just love them. That's just one thing, you know what I mean? But it all starts with self. You can't change the world at all until you change yourself. But once you change yourself, the world that you perceive will change, you know what I'm saying? And once each individual makes that effort to change themselves, to change the world that they perceive, you know what I'm saying, then the collective perceptions will change reality, you know what I'm saying, for the collective, I guess, you know what I mean? I guess that's the goal, but it just starts with loving yourself. Love yourself unconditionally. Free your mind. And once you free yourself, you start vibing, you know what I'm saying? Once you start vibing, you attract other people, you know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why, like, with this video shit, I'm really just uploading it to capture my thoughts, you know what I mean? But who would attract is who would attract. And if it resonate with you, then you were supposed to see this. I guess that makes sense. Again, I'm just rambling.